brief presentation to explain about what is design, uh, how design possibly creates value, because that is our whole objective of creating any startup or and taking it to a level of like being an enterprise, and how we can bring in viability in this whole process. Because if our ventures, our offering, our initiative is not viable, then we'll not be able to sustain for long and will not be able to generate value which we expect to get from the startups. So I would be covering these points, and briefly I'll be talking about NID and my other initiatives, my initiative in MSME sector. So that is how this presentation is going to be there. And at the end of this, we will be able to take up some of the questions. So I'm sharing my screen right now. So my name is Jitendra Singh Rajput. I'm faculty with National Institute of Design. Uh, I'm part of Strategic Design Management program, which is a 2-year program, a master's program, which basically talks about application of design in all different areas, apart from like regular or very common sort of design areas like product design, textile design, communication design. Apart from this, design also works in a lot of other areas like businesses or policy making or services. So these type of area also require design intervention. And a lot of time we talk about strategies in these areas. So that is why this course is called Strategic Design Management. This is a 2.5-year postgraduate program in Gandhinagar campus. Uh, for participants' information, I'll be talking about National Institute of Design. This is the premier and first design institute in the country. This was started in 1961, and this institute is much ahead of its time in terms of like it's being there in the country. Uh, when there were no design institute in China and no design institute in Korea and a lot of other countries which are like very progressive, very forward in terms of like design application, this institute was established by Government of India. So there was a vision behind establishing an institute which will help our industries, our small scale industries, our other industry sectors and government to bring in design thought process in their day-to-day activities. So this was the idea, and this is institute started almost like 60 years back in the country. So when we talk about design, like what is design? A lot of people have a lot of different type of perception. Like many times people feel that everything we do is design. So if we prepare something at home is also design. If we decorate our home is also design. Sometimes we say that whatever new things we create, whatever jugaad we do, sometimes we call it a good design. But sometimes design is very specific, very specialized sort of like activity. I'll be talking about it. There's a basic perception. A lot of people say fashion is design. So because of success of our fashion institutes, design has got into our day-to-day life very much. Like a lot of people are able to connect design with fashion. But it is not only fashion. A lot of people talk about interiors. Our home decor or our home interiors are also considered to be good design. But it is also very limited sort of like approach to design, I would say. In some of the cases, we call our electronic products or our automobiles as very good design. So our perception of design is limited to sometimes automobiles and electronic goods which we are using nowadays. But design is beyond all these type of products. Why we are talking about design is also because we are part of continuously changing sort of like scenario. If we say today's scenario is the best scenario, now we don't need anything else, scenario will change and you will find something new which is going to challenge you. Either it is going to uh, take you out of business or take you out of the place, and you will be at the bottom of like competition. Or sometimes you create a scenario where your competitors will be able to will be finding it difficult to sustain. So this is constantly changing. The very basic metaphor have used here is like a traffic scenario in maybe 1991, when we were talking about economic reforms and it was very different and India was very scared. We tried to adopt to those things. By 2000, a lot of our industries were able to produce quality products, but we were not doing much of innovation. Very few people used to talk about innovation during those times. 2010 scenario, if we see how traffic has also gone up, the same way we have also started seeing a lot of like new challenges coming into our industry. And now in 2020, when we are seeing we have good like infrastructure, still we are facing a lot of new challenges. We have built a lot of like flyovers and over bridges and all, but these things are also not sufficient. They are also trying to pose new challenges to us, and we are talking about public transport and all the other type of things. Same scenarios there with industry, same scenarios there with the startups. So those who were doing startups in early days, like 90s or something, they had different type of challenges, but challenges were there. And in 2020 also challenges are there, but challenges have taken a different shape. And this is how we have to face those challenges, and we have to come up with some solution. A very interesting and very basic example of like how design or how we see value through design is this phone. This is 1100 Nokia, which used to be called Made for India phone. So during that time when promos were popular, a lot of people wanted to buy this phone because it was made for India. It was like very rugged. It was having a lot of like battery backup. It had very basic sort of like interface which can be used easily. It was like it was one of the best made for India sort of phone. But this was not the end of mobile phones. People started liking colored screen. Somebody thought of like, why not we have colored screen? So some companies brought in color screen, and this became a popular sort of product. Then came QWERTY key phones, BlackBerry phone. Somebody who's having a BlackBerry phone is considered to be used to be a very corporate type of profile person. So people used to say, okay, somebody is having a BlackBerry phone. That means the person can not only send messages, they can also access mails. This was the USP of BlackBerry phone, and then other phones also came into similar format. But that was not the end of mobile phones. Somebody thought of like, why we need keyboards? Why we need to have keys on screen? If we directly touch on screen, it could solve a lot of like other problems. And we started getting phones which are like having touch screens. And then this was the end of keypad phones basically. But this was also not the end of like high end phones. A lot of other companies including Nokia came up with a lot of like solutions where touch screens and similar type of features were there. But we could have stopped there. The needs were sufficiently met during that time, but people were wanting to have something more. And then came possibly Android and all other different platforms which tried to compete in market. This changed the whole scenario, and a lot of companies went out of business. One of those could be Nokia and BlackBerry and others who could not see the market again. Okay. But that doesn't mean that value is not there in keypad phones, or value is there only with the QWERTY phones, or value is there only with the touchscreen phones. So this is how designs are being done with mobile phones. If you go outside, if you see a lot of people still use basic phones, which are like the keyboard phones, and a lot of people are using touchscreen phone. Both have got different requirements, and both have got different values also. Okay. In terms of value, when people realize there is a possibility of creating a high-end touch phone, there are other companies who were trying to design phones which are having low-end, basic sort of like phone, but they have got a lot of good features. Okay, so one of the revolution in this industry was like Redmi, which came up with low cost, high quality, high technology phones. And at the same time, Apple like phones, Apple Pixel and Samsung, they also kept improving or innovating on their phones, and they came up with like high resolution cameras, high sensitivity touch, high capacity phones. And the market has expanded. We cannot say that there is market only for high end luxury phones, but there are also a very big market for low and good technology phones. In between, nobody thought of like a phone which will come up in the form of OnePlus. It's a premium low end phone, we can call it. So there is always somebody is trying to identify a market which has got good number of customers, or have pockets to buy products which we are going to offer. And it is never going to end. If you find, after some time, you will find certain people will come up with no camera phones possibly. Somebody will say, okay, screen itself is a camera. Screen can sense and it can give you. The way we have got maybe the finger sensing on screen. Same way possibly will possibly not be requiring any camera also. But this is how we are continuously improving. And this is why we are seeing value in both type of products. If it is a low end product, there is also a lot of value associated. And if there is a high end phone, there is also a lot of value being created every day. Very easily we talk about creativity, innovation, and invention. Okay. And design is present in all these forms. Creativity, basically an idea which has come into your mind. Invention, an idea which is really radical, nobody has thought about it, and you are experimenting with those ideas. These are called inventions. We can very easily say a light bulb is an invention, and colored light bulb could be a creative idea of like this invention. Innovation is basically about adopting those ideas into a commercial way. Then what is design in all these scenarios? So design is like mix of lot of innovation, lot of creativity, lot of invention. In design, we say that we apply design and invention also. Let's say something which is very high in technology or very innovative sort of like approach to doing things. Their design can also apply. It can make it commercialized. Sometimes we talk about creative ideas and how they can be converted into a commercial activity. Sometimes we also talk about innovations, like very basic innovation, like a phone which is adopted from Apple in the form of Samsung phone could also be a design activity, a design product. So that way, design is applicable in all these scenarios. I'll briefly talk about like how design is like present in all these areas and how we are trying to create value through it. So first very thing is like design is user centric. When we talk about design, it has to have its user in its mind. So whenever you apply design, a lot of time we see people are doing good technology work. They are saying, I have developed a sensor. The sensor works very nice. But your user doesn't want to see a sensor. Your user doesn't want to basically doesn't want to know about what type of material, what type of technology, what type of approach you are using here. They just want to use a product, and because of that, you need to have a lot of like user centric approach in your activity. This is where design is the first level of design activity goes in. So when you talk about user, they could be your customers, they could be your manufacturers, they could be your suppliers, they could be your distributor. They are all users. If your product is really good in terms of like its usage by your customer, it has to also be good in terms of its production. So if your user is manufacturer, you have to take care of his requirement, his or her requirement. Okay, if your user is customer, you have to also look into that area, and you have to make your product in such a way that your customer is also very happy. Okay, a lot of time we talk that our customer should be happy, but what will happen to your manufacturer who is not going to make any profit out of it? So that way, what type of user you are trying to address to is the core area of work in terms of design. Okay, when we say what customers want, it is basically about products, services, process. This is something which we really want to design. Okay, what type of experiences you are going to give, this is second area. So let's say you have made a product. If this product is good enough to satisfy your requirement, sometimes we also talk about how we are able to create more value to our customers. So sometimes we say that okay, touch screen is really good because touch is very smooth. So that smooth touch is basically a experience. Touch is anyways going to work, but can you bring in better sort of like engagement with your customers? That is where sometimes design works. Sometimes you try to create wow effect. Sometimes you try to create aspiration for your customers. So let's say if I'm not able to buy a Apple phone, possibly I aspire, and that is why I appreciate design of Apple. So possibly I'll not be able to buy right now, but I know that it is a really good design product. So same way we try to create multiple sort of like values for our customers through design. Design is also about making things affordable, like example of Redmi phones, or making it accessible, like we can access Ola and Uber services nearby. That is also a good design. How we can make it available to our customers, how we can make it usable to our customers. Sometimes issues of ergonomics, like we come across some such type of challenges in our machine tool industries, where we see a lot of like lathe machines which have been manufactured very nicely. There are like really good type of materials. The finish quality is also very good, but they are not very well usable. They are not very safe. They are not very ergonomically designed. So sometimes our approach to design is also from that point of view. Sometimes we try to create such a entity which is beyond product. Sometimes we try to create brands or perceptions or emotions for our products or services. This is the time when customer wants to own it. This is the time when customer want to say that no, I use this product because I really like the product as a brand, not as a product, physical product. So a lot of time we say, I only wear Nike, I only use maybe Tata cars, or I only use some specific sort of product. This is the level where we have to reach. This is the level where our startups should plan to reach. Uh, this is how we should possibly create some brands or some value perception through our entities. Second activity is like design is very much contextual, context driven. So if something you want to design, let's say you have designed a product for Europe. So Europe is a context for you. It will never work in India in most of the cases. And that is where a lot of like international products fail in our context. A lot of time international companies try to dump their product in our market. And they realize, okay, Indian market is very different. It is not somebody who is like uh, ready to accept low quality products. Indians are like very high quality demanding products, demanding people. So you cannot dump anything saying that okay, this is cheap, so you can buy it. So in those contexts, design purely works based on like who is your customer, what is your market, who is going to buy, who is going to sell this product, who is going to manufacture this product. So these are the contexts which we have to very strongly try to work on it, and then try to see how our designs are going to come in. Third very important part of design is like it has to be purposeful. There has to be some purpose. Why you are designing? Are you trying to make profit, or are you trying to solve some problem, or are you trying to create a better sort of world by providing or creating your services? Sometimes a lot of like uh, social entrepreneurship initiatives, their purpose is to satisfy people's need. Their purpose is to provide better livelihood option. There is no purpose of like making profit. On the other side, you will find a lot of startups which are talking about creating new products, reaching out to new markets, trying to export their products in different countries. The purpose is very clear. We want to make profit and we want to make our organization bigger. So that way, purpose should be very clear. If purpose is clear, then your design will be more appropriate. If your purpose is like somewhere not properly aligned, then your design will fail. Sometimes we say that a good example is like Tata Nano. The purpose of this car was to provide uh, a family mobility, so safe mobility. Instead of using a scooter, idea was to provide them a car. But larger purpose of this car was to satisfy their aspiration also, which they could not fulfill. Tatas could not fulfill. So they could make a car, but they could not fulfill an aspiration. And this is where product failed miserably. So if we are clear about purpose, then possibly we'll be able to do better design. Sometimes our objective is to solve some problems. A lot of time startups like are focused on different type of problems they come across. Sometimes we are seeing products outside, we are realizing okay, there is some possibility of creating something new, and we try to take up those problems and try to create those solutions. In this area, a lot of creativity is important. Along with this, a lot of like experimentation, a lot of prototyping, and those type of activities are important, which is essential part of design. Other very important part of design activity or design process is uh, it has to be interdisciplinary. A lot of time I've seen startups or especially MSMEs are too focused on either engineering or technology. So they will try to adopt some technology and they will try to create a solution. Sometimes they are saying, no, we just want to create new materials, or we want to optimize our machines, or we want to increase efficiency of our machine, and they try to solve that problem. But because of focused only in the engineering area, or only in the material, or only in marketing, or only in one part of like business, they are sometimes not able to succeed properly. Design is purely interdisciplinary. If you're talking about a product to be sold in the market, then you have to take care of not only creative ideas behind that product, but also you have to see how you are going to manufacture, how you are going to train your people, how you are going to possibly package that product, how you are going to ship that product, and how it is going to be sold in the market. So that way, design is very, very interdisciplinary. It requires every function to come together and then try to create a new product or service. Design sometimes talk about differentiation, because when you are making a very common product which is already available in the market, you are not going to succeed properly, or sometimes you are going to face a lot of challenge. So sometimes you take up a product, let's say a pen, or maybe a mobile phone, or maybe a headphone or something. This is very common product, but when you really want to address to a market where there is a demand for a good number like headphones or mobile phones or something, you'll try to create some differentiation. You will say, okay, my mobile phone has got highest amount of uh, camera resolution, or possibly you will say instead of one camera it has got four cameras. This is how you are trying to differentiate. And when you start differentiating, when you start creating new sort of like approaches, your competitors start following you. So in present scenario, you must have seen uh, the MI phones are basic differentiator. They are saying at low cost we are bringing best technology. What happens? Like other companies, even Apple is also forced to bring in multiple cameras in their mobile phones. Other part is like being futuristic, where Apple is very aggressive. So they are trying to create new sensors, they are trying to create new applications, they are trying to create new human interfaces, which makes Apple phones better usable, or uh, uh, better connected with their users, or make them more aspiring for their customers. So this is a futuristic approach where you can say that, okay, nothing uh, nothing sort of like going to be work here which is present in the market. I'm going to create something which is exceptional. So you will say there is no camera on back, possibly one approach. Or you can say, okay, on both sides there is a touch screen. Or you can say possibly there is no buttons on mobile phones. This could be a futuristic approach. You will say, okay, there is no camera on phone. So that way, futuristic approach brings in a lot of like uh, differentiation, or a lot of like newness in your products or services. Very important part of like your design activities, it has to be human centric approach. It has to have human sort of like factors into it. So if you are considering human factor is not only about ergonomics or not only about usability, but also about emotions, also about local and cultural sort of like inputs in your product. Then it makes more sense when you bring in new service or products. Design process, this must have been seen by some of you or most of you. This is very common sort of like process. If you ask me, design process is very simple process which we sometimes unknowingly adopt or practice in our day-to-day life. It's a double diamond sort of like diagram which talks about design starting with discovery phase. On the bottom of this chart, you will see discovery, define, develop, and deliver. So discovery is the part when we try to research, when we try to bring out the ideas or information which is available in the market. In this phase, a lot of time our engineering centric organizations go out and search for technology, search for machines, materials, or components and all. Sometimes our management guys try to see what type of competition, what type of packaging, what type of branding can be done. In design process, we try to see how possibly we can look into the human aspect of it. We go to our customers, we ask them what problems they are seeing, what problems they are facing, what type of new products you want. So research part basically brings in ideas which are like lying there in the market, so that you will not go out of context. You will not create something which is not required in the market. That's very important part of the design activity. You must have also gone out, you must have asked some certain people, okay, will you use this product? Do you have these type of problems? Do you really want these type of solutions in your life, or do you think this is going to work in market? So that way we try to do some research, but design research is very focused, very methodical approach where we try to understand the overall larger scenario which is there in the market. We try to use insights or ideas from our customers. We try to see what type of competitors are there. We try to see what is the depth of our market. Possibly we are doing a good research, we realize there is no market for this product. Idea is really good, but there is nobody going to buy this. Let's say a flying car. In present scenario, a lot of people would possibly buy an electric car, but nobody would go for flying car, considering possibly the cost, possibly the infrastructure issues, possibly other issues. So flying car could be out of context in our scenario. Electric car could be a good scenario for us. So this is the research part. From research, when we try to analyze different data, different sort of like inputs from our customers and all, we come up with some insights, which are like really a direction for our future work. So these insights are basically the ideas which are generated from our research. These ideas sometimes are given by our customers, or sometimes we try to map different things and try to understand what is going to be the future of this research or product. The third phase of this is, if you have got insight, good insight, it's good. You then again converge these insights here, and then you go for the ideation, which is the third phase of activity. In all design processes, you will first follow research, second you will follow insight, second third idea, third will be the ideation, and fourth will be the prototype. Ideation is like you will try to make a lot of combinations, you will try to make a lot of like sketches, concepts and all, and these concepts you will try to prototype so that you will be able to see the real sort of like product in your hand. Sometimes you will make prototypes which are like very crude, which are very functional. Sometimes you will make prototypes which are possibly functional, non-functional but aesthetics. Sometimes you will try to make technology sort of like application in prototypes. Sometimes you will try to incorporate other type of like challenges, and you will bring out these prototypes out there in the market in different ways. These prototypes will give you a lot of like ideas. You will go back, you will refine your ideas, and then you will come up with the product. So this is the process of design. It's called double diamond approach, where you will keep iterating. You will try to keep creating experiments, which Nagarajan sir has mentioned, and then you will sometimes you will fail and you will learn again and you will create new approach. And this is how design process completes. The idea of design process, doing design process, is basically to come up with something which is not going to fail when you will launch it in the market. That is why you do all these processes. Design works very well in products. We have seen a lot of like products in our market, in our day-to-day life. So market is full of products. uh, so when we do design, we try to create a lot of products. A lot of our startups will bring out products in the market. Some of them will also work on components or technologies or plugins, sort of like activities, and they will provide certain insights or directions or ideas to the larger product manufacturers. Sometimes design is applied in packaging also. In some cases, product is working really good, their packaging is very shabby, very out of context, or very not well done, sort of like packaging. And sometimes we lose our market or customers because of poor packaging, poor communication, or poor connect with the customer. A lot of time it happens like your product is selected based on your packaging. You must have been seeing a lot of like unboxing experiences. This is basically a packaging sort of like design activity. So it is not the design of product is not end of design activity. You have to also make sure that how it is packaged, how it is possibly consumed later, how it is going to be maintained, and how it is going to be discarded, which is a very upcoming sort of like concern nowadays. If your product is environmentally not fit, then it is going to be less acceptable in the market in future. So you have to also have that concern. So that way we apply design in different product scenarios. Design is very much applicable in processes. So a lot of time we try to optimize our process. We try to see how we can possibly manufacture our products. In a small scale industry, possibly CNC machine manufacturing is not a viable scenario, not a very well like acceptable scenario, because their requirement is less. They will go for conventional machining. So manufacturing design in a MSME scenario will be more of a manual type of work. Same way, assembly, training of your staff, efficiency of your product, efficiency of your process, sometimes productivity of your process is also design. Design works very nicely in this area, and you should have a lot of like design consideration whenever you're coming up with these type of activities. Third very interesting area which we are able to realize nowadays, we are seeing a lot of services, we are using a lot of services nowadays, like airlines, taxis, restaurants, all these areas beyond products, beyond design of aircraft, beyond design of like cars and all, we are also concerned about how services are being provided. So when we call a Ola or Uber or any other service, we sometimes have certain things in mind, which is more of a service design activity. So sometimes we say drivers are well behaved, cars are always clean, they are not charging too much. So these are all service design elements. So those enterprises in our scenario, in SSIP scenario, who are possibly working on product plus service scenarios or possibly completely service sort of like interventions, they should have very strong design considerations in their activities. So services is not only about offering what you are going to offer, what you are going to provide as a service, but also how you are going to create experience. So a lot of time we go to a restaurant just because of the environment, like Cafe Coffee Day, we can recall. A lot of people don't like coffee of Cafe Coffee Day, but they are going there just because of experience, just because of the Wi-Fi service they are providing. Sometimes we go some certain use certain services because of comfort, convenience, accessibility, and all. So if Ola is easily accessible, possibly will not call Uber because they take more time. Sometimes we call certain services like Urban Ladder because they are charging less or they are very transparent. So that way services are also designed and they are also having a lot of like potential in future. Experiences like malls, we are not going to use any service, we just go inside, roam around, enjoy window shopping sometimes. It basically gives us experience. A lot of time we say that okay, these malls are like, some malls are not good because they ask us to travel a lot. Sometimes we say escalators are like not very well placed, sometimes we say they are very crowded. These are all experiences and they are also designed uh, intentionally. Sometimes we design strategies. Paperboard, I think most of us must have used paperboard, have taken this drink. This is very exceptional company, I would say, because of its approach to bringing a juice packaged juice in the market. So challenge was like when there are like a lot of juice companies which are selling out there in the market, you have to come up with a product which is very small sort of like scale, which has got a lot of like design value, but you don't have much reach in terms of like your product. Market is very dynamic, very sort of like unpredictable, so you cannot go to extent and compete with possibly Real and Tropicana. So in those scenarios, this company not only created a juice, but also they created a story so that people will be able to connect. They called this connects in terms of like its story. When we were kids, we were using paper boats. When we were kids, we were drinking amras, anaras, and all. So they have tried to connect their customers from their childhood memories. This is first approach. Second is like they started with selling this product in airline, mostly in Indigo. So there they created a lot of like image about this product. Third was like very interesting packaging design. It was very different from all other juices. It was not a typical like rectangular tetra pack, but it was very handy sort of like packaging, easy to open, easy to possibly drink and all. Other interesting approaches like they try to bring in flavors which were not very commonly available in the market, and that is how they acted as a very smart company and brought design into their strategies. So that is how I would like to inform all the participant how design can possibly work in all different areas and how it can create different type of values in your product or services. As we are also talking about the viability, this is called DVF model, DVF diagram, which talks about desirability, feasibility, and viability. Desirability is basically something which our users want. Sometimes we go out, mostly designers do this activity. They just go out and they try to understand their customers. They bring in their insights and create a product. This is solving a lot of like desirability sort of issues where customer wants something and we are able to create it. So how to make that product which is desirable out there in the market. So what you do is like you try to bring in your engineering knowledge, you try to bring in a lot of like machines and all, and those machines are able to produce your product. So this product which is desired in the market is also manufacturable in the market. So your two aspects are majorly covered through this processes. But many a times, especially in case of designers, especially in case of startups, I've seen a lot of people forget about viability aspect of your offerings. Viability is basically the economics of product or economics of design, economics of idea. This basically talks about how your product is going to go out in market and how you're going to sustain as a business entity. So if your product is really good, it is well accepted by customers, it is well manufactured by your manufacturer or your vendors, a lot of time it is decided whether it is acceptable to your customers in terms of like its economics or not. Sometimes it also requires that whether you are able to produce that much number so that you will be able to make some profit out of it. Let's say some good product which is really desired in the market and manufacturable, but desired only in thousands number, you're not able to make any profit out of it possibly. Or if it is too costly to manufacture, you will not be able to sustain in the market. Your customer will say, okay, your product is good, but I cannot pay for this price. Or sometimes your customer will say, okay, I really want this product, your price is also good, but problem is like you're not able to produce it in number. So there is demand for 1 lakh pieces, you're not able to make more than 10,000. What is the point of having this product when there is huge demand out there in the market and you're not able to manufacture it? So a lot of time we are not able to address the requirement of like viability aspect of our business, and this is very much important, and this is where design also works. So when we talk about design, design is not only going to look into the aspect of user, not only looking into the aspect of manufacturing, but also looking into the aspect of economics. If you need to reach out to a market which is very competitive, your viability aspect will be very different. If your product is absolutely new, nobody has made such type of product before this, you have to have consideration in terms of like not only making your product but also making your customers aware of it. Somebody in our response form, the survey form, somebody has mentioned uh, the vehicle called Fiat Punto. Fiat Punto is a very good product, but it was not viable for company to manufacture and market. The biggest issue is like they're not able to sell bigger numbers of products in the market. At the same time, when you see Maruti cars, Suzuki cars, they are very well in demand, and they are always trying to maintain a sort of waiting time for their customers to buy their products. So that is how they are creating not only desirability, but they are also trying to maintain themselves sustainable in the market. In terms of like viability, I would also like to talk about explorers and exploiters. There is a very interesting book called Design of Businesses by Roger Martin. So in this book, basically Roger Martin talks about explorers and exploiters. In a lot of cases, in my experience, when I've seen designers and startups working on new ideas, they are mostly explorers. They're trying to identify an opportunity and trying to convert that opportunity into a viable product, into a makeable product, into a sellable product. These guys are usually explorers. They explore new ideas, they try to create, and they present it there in the market. But a lot of time they are not exploiters. What they do is like they create good products, but they are not able to exploit it, and they are not able to gain advantage of market by selling it in big numbers. In most of the cases, these explorers are able to solve certain problems, but they are not able to scale up those problems. In a lot of cases, I have also seen exploiters, especially in MSME sector, where people are able to exploit opportunities, but they are not able to explore them. So let's say I'm making a lathe machine, I'm making some good number of machine, I'm able to sustain in the market. But many a times, I as a MSME, I'm not able to bring in new ideas to this machine. I'm not able to bring in new approaches to this machine so that I can reach to a much bigger level where new demands are coming in. So basically, I'm an exploiter of idea which I have already exploited right now, but I'm not able to explore new ideas. And this gap is very constantly like present in the market for a long time. Like you will find a lot of explorers who are not able to exploit their ideas. There are a lot of exploiters who are not able to explore new ideas. This gap you have to fulfill, and this is something which is very much required in our startups case. To explain this, I would say explorers are somebody who is trying to work in the area where a lot of like mystery is there, which is a common market scenario. When you go out, you see a lot of like opportunities, a lot of ideas to work on. You try to create a heuristic, some sort of arrangement, some sort of like solution to this. And when you create those solution in such a way that it can be generated in multiple numbers, then this will be called algorithm. Mostly explorers are there up to the level of heuristics. Exploiters are mostly in the area of algorithm. So what they do is like they try to create a mechanism which will make their products produce in multiple numbers. Those who are good in algorithms are not good in terms of solving mysteries. Those who are good in heuristics are not able to create an algorithm out of that. So this is basically a model in this book, which I recommend you all to read if you have not read. And this works very good in startup scenario. I would like to bring in some of the case studies and some of the examples from our common sort of knowledge. There's a company everybody knows, McDonald's. If I can ask and you can reply on your own, who started McDonald's? Definitely McDonald brothers. Uh, Richard and Morris McDonald's. They started this company, and this was started in I think 1937. Yeah, 1937 in California, and this became very popular in late 40s or early 50s. What happened during that time when World War was over and all those companies who were manufacturing warheads started making automobiles? A lot of people started buying automobiles, and when they started going out in their automobiles, they wanted to have food when they go out. And during that time, a lot of like restaurants came up on the outskirts of cities in America. And McDonald brothers realized this opportunity that they can serve burgers in outskirts. And this is where McDonald's chain started. So interestingly, what they could do is like they started making burgers, and they created a very interesting sort of like uh, uh, interesting heuristic, I would say, interesting arrangement of making burgers. They called as SSP, I think Speedy Service System, SSS, Triple S. In 1948, they created a Triple S system, which is called Speedy Service System. This was basically to create burgers in faster way, because when cars are out, they have ordered, they will try to get products as fast as possible. When you're not inviting people to come inside your restaurant, you have to be very fast in terms of like delivering your product. And in this term, uh, their idea was to create a approach which is better than the mystery which is already there in the market. So a lot of people were making burger, but these guys were making burger very fast. But this was end of McDonald brothers like venture. When they were doing this service, they had only 4 restaurants or 4 outlets of McDonald's, and they were not able to scale up. During that time, this person is called Ray Kroc, who, who was juice supplier to McDonald company. And he realized that speedy service system is a very interesting idea. This is scalable to an extent that it can reach to a larger like sort of like scenario. It can create multiple sort of outlets across the country and across the world. So Mr. Kroc realized that there is a possibility to use the system and exploit this idea in a much bigger scale. He somehow bought this company. There are stories and there is a movie on this, that how he bought this company, and McDonald brothers were not satisfied with the deal, but finally Mr. Ray kicked them out. He took over the McDonald chain. He simplified this speedy service system. He tried to maintain that every burger, every patty, every bun, every process, every cooking, every training of the staff should be done in a standardized manner. And this standardized manner made him exploit this opportunity in multiple way. First is like he can start uh, the similar sort of restaurant in any part of the world. And this is what McDonald's did later. They started applying this algorithm in a lot of other scenarios, a lot of other states and all. And they become a very big sort of chain. And now they are biggest one of the biggest chain in the world in terms of food joints. If you are aware of assembly lines, we come across this in a day-to-day conversation in terms of like automobiles or in terms of like very systematic process of manufacturing. Assembly lines are like very common. Most of the time when we talk about assembly line, we recall our uh, uh, our knowledge of Ford's assembly line, which transformed the automobile industry. But before that, assembly line was very much popular in different parts of world, but nobody could exploit it before Henry Ford. So Henry Ford took the idea of assembly line and then he created a exceptional sort of like manufacturing system and created cars which are meant for people. So earlier cars used to be very luxurious product. Not ordinary men, ordinary people, ordinary families uh, used to buy cars. But Henry Ford changed the scenario and he tried to make these cars available to every customer there in the America. Similarly, very good example from our part of the world, Air Deccan. I think few of us have traveled by Air Deccan. The idea behind this was to make every Indian travel by air, and this was not very unique idea in terms of like low cost airline. There were a lot of like low cost airline already working in different part of the world. But Captain Gopinath took this idea, tried to convert this idea into an Indian sort of like context. So he designed a approach for airline in Indian context. And this airline changed the whole Indian skies. After this, Kingfisher took over Air Deccan, but could not succeed. But from this idea, SpiceJet, Indigo, and other companies could make a major market. And Indigo's example is like very well in front of us. Flipkart and recent buyout of Flipkart is known to everybody. Every startups, basically every startup wants to become a Flipkart now. They want that they should succeed to a level when the larger organizations will come to them and they will try to possibly offer a good deal to them. Flipkart is also a very interesting story where they have Indianized the approach of retail, online retail, and they from books to a lot of different products and from products to mobile phones and electronic devices and all. They have captured the market and they have made Amazon really transform their approach in the Indian market. And finally, I would like to talk about some of the very interesting viability case studies of MSMEs where we could support these MSMEs by providing designers. We asked them to apply to our scheme. So basically, the scheme which I'm talking about is called Design Clinic Scheme. Uh, NID was working in a lot of MSME sectors earlier, long back, like for last 20, 25 years. And we realized that MSME sector requires design intervention for making their products better. And we approached to Ministry of MSME and we asked them to create a scheme which will provide design support to MSMEs. And Ministry of MSME agreed, and we created the scheme where we were providing design awareness seminars to MSMEs. We were also providing them some funding for design activity so that they can hire some designers and they can use those designers to make their products better. And this process, we realized that when MSME products were taken to the designer, when designers were analyzing those products, they were already like way behind in terms of their approach, in terms of their manufacturing, in terms of their look and feel. A lot of our MSME say that you can very easily identify Indian product in international exhibition. The biggest reason behind this is their aesthetics, their approach to making products. Indian products are like worst looking product in most of the scenario. I'm not saying all the products are like not good looking or not good presented, well presented sort of products. But most of the time we have seen that Indian products are like not very well worked out. They're functionally very good. They're quality wise very good. Their performance is very good. They're cost effective also. but they are not presentable in international scenario, and most of the time they are not able to get orders from international customers, especially from Europe, Middle East, America and all. So that way we came up with this scheme. I was heading this scheme for quite some time, and during this process we were helping MSMEs to identify their problem, work with designer and create a new product. So this first example which I'm going to present here is basically a LED light manufacturer from Ahmedabad. The manufacturing unit's name is Suveg Electronics, and this company used to manufacture LED lights for a long time. Like they were making a lot of street lights. They were competing in government orders. There were a lot of like competitors who were like local competitors as well as the larger competitors like Philips and all. So this company used to face a lot of challenge, and their product was also like certain components brought from China. Certain products are like components made in Ahmedabad, and they were trying to assemble and sell it. And everybody else in this market was doing same thing. So there was no differentiation, no standing out in the market. When they hired designer went out, did some research. He asked a lot of questions to MSME and customers and other people, and tried to understand what is really missing in this product, because it's a very ordinary product. There are LED lights, there is a driver, you connect LED light with driver, you supply power, LED lights will glow. Very simple product. I think this is a basic thing which we everybody try to experiment when we are growing up. So LED light is one of the basic experiment we have done in early phase of our life, or other sort of like similar experiments. So LED light business is very no technology sort of business, otherwise very well known to everybody. But there are a lot of possibilities because Indian market was changing almost like 4 5 years back. Every street light was getting converted into a smart street light, and smart means you have to have LED, you have to have better like controls and better lighting system and all. A lot of like smart city initiative also came into scenario, and that is why this manufacturer was also forced to adopt some new approach. When designer went out, did some research, he came up with some ideas. He said, why don't we make it more attractive, more appealing, more easy to manufacture? And when we saw the report, when we saw the analysis of this product, they talked about not only making it aesthetically better, but they also talked about how to make heat dissipation better, how to remove that front glass. If you have seen LED lights in our streets, a lot of lights have got front glass, which need to be cleaned every time. You have to go and open the glass, and then you have to bring out all the dust and insects and all, which is very common phenomena, very common sort of like approach in LED light maintenance. They talked about, can we remove this glass? Can we reduce the size of casting? Can we make this heat sink better, more efficient? And that is how they got into every part of this LED light. The, the light which is shown here in the in this part is basically uh, a very simple design. This heat sink, which we are able to see, is a very common heat sink which is available out there in the market from, I think, Jindal. The other part, the casting part, is like reduced half in the size. So casting is very costly component in the LED light. They reduces it to half. They made it flexible so that light can be adjusted according to the pole design. You don't have to change the pole now. Because of the design of light, you can adjust tilt of light without changing the design of pole. And that is how they incorporated a lot of like intervention. And they started competing not only with the local manufacturer but also with Osram, GE, Crompton, Wipro. These type of competitors came into the market where they were able to beat those clients, those competitors. This light is very attractive, very simple, very easy to install, very flexible in terms of like if you want to increase number of lights, if you want to decrease number of LEDs, if you want to possibly create variations. So that way, a lot of like flexibility came into scenario. And finally, when this product was launched and in due course, they were able to install it in 5 different smart cities. If you have been to Gift City, the lights which are installed there is made by a small scale industry, micro scale industry, I would call it them. They have very small setup. Still, after reaching to this level, they have very small setup. And this is all because of their design, because they are able to, so they did not expand in big way in terms of their workshop, but they got a lot of like vendors who could very easily make components. Somebody will be able to assemble it and directly dispatch it to the client. So that flexibility came from design. This new product, in terms of its viability, is a better design, more appealing, it's modular, you can change things anytime, it is more efficient than other products in the market. It's low maintenance, you can control every light from your desktop, your laptop, and you can see which light is working, which light is not working, and all those type of information. It's quick in production, it's easy delegation to your vendors, and it's low investment. So low investment is also a viability criteria. When you are small, you are not able to bring in a lot of like investment in terms of machines, labor, training, promotion, marketing. So that way, when investment is low, you have your design is also required to be according to that. And this is very good example of how design can transform an industry. These guys could reach from 2 crore turnover to 20 crore turnover in just 2 years. So this is what is impact of design, a simple design in an MSME or startup scenario. The other very interesting example is Mira Cradle. If you have seen incubators in hospitals, they are mostly imported incubators. We are talking about nowadays we are talking about uh, uh, ventilators, and because of the COVID scenario, and a lot of companies have started manufacturing, they're trying to manufacture ventilators in India, and we are trying to make India independent of import in terms of incubators. So that similar approach was taken up by this MSME unit from Noida. They were manufacturer of phase change material. Phase change material is an industrial material which maintains a temperature of a, 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 a area for almost 72 hours. So let's say if you want to maintain certain temperature for certain areas, you will use this phase change material so that temperature will be maintained. And these type of pads are used in those materials. So inside this, there is a phase change material. This company used to manufacture phase change material only. They were not making any products. They were just raw material suppliers. They got some idea. They said, why don't we use this special material for some special sort of like complication in neonatal care. So in case of asphyxia, when delivery is happening, if there is some because of some complication, if baby is getting choked, and they in those scenarios they need to be maintained at much lower temperature than the standard temperature. So usual incubator provide around 37 degree of temperature. This incubator requires to maintain temperature at 32 degrees. So this is a special scenario, and you will not find these type of machines in most of the hospitals. Very specialized hospital will have these type of facilities. It's a very critical sort of like care unit, which sometimes if it is not there, it's a major sort of like emergency scenario for a infant. And sometimes baby need to be rushed to different hospitals, and a lot of complication happens. So this company started making this product. They came up with the idea, they tried to create a lot of like different prototypes. They not only worked on the container, the bucket, the material pads and all, but also tried to understand how it can be safer, how it can be easily handleable, and those type of things they did through design dimension. In terms of like viability, it's an invention sort of like case in MSMEs. A lot of time we see like incremental innovations are happening in MSMEs, and we are doing design activity. But this case was a pure invention sort of like scenario. This is a very simple product, no electricity required, no attachments are required. You can carry this bucket very easily, and the incubator. It's very cost effective. The actual product which is available in the market, which is a purely imported product, cost around 7 lakh rupee. This product cost hardly 75 to 80,000 rupees. It's a major game changer for small hospitals, and they are. So now this company is not only selling this product in Indian markets, Indian hospitals. They did a lot of experiments with hospital, and now they got approvals. Now they are selling, they are exporting these products in international markets. So from making raw materials, this company could establish itself as a medical device product manufacturer. And this is the last example where again a Ahmedabad based company. So a lot of people must be aware Ahmedabad is called ice cream capital of India. A lot of like ice cream manufacturing happens here in the country, here in this city. There are also a lot of like manufacturers who are making ice cream making machines. This is one of the machine which makes high capacity, like family pack uh, ice creams. And on the conveyor through this nozzle, ice creams are packed and they are like finally dispatched. So this machine, earlier machine was like very complicated, lot of like maintenance issue. The requirement when this product came to us was basic. It was said that our machine should look aesthetically better. It should be aesthetically good looking machine. When designer started working on it, this designer transformed not only the aesthetics of it, but also they worked on internal component arrangement. Now it is 30% less volume, 20% less weight. It is better arranged, more sophisticated like arrangement of internal components and all. And that is how this machine is more appealing in the market. So these are the viability challenges we are trying to solve. And design, when you adopt design, it becomes integral part of your activity. You are forced to consider viability, forced to consider value creation sort of like activities when you take up design. This is the like central idea I have to share with you. I would like to also share about design thinking scheme's approach and its reach. We could do more than 350 design projects, and I would suggest those startups who are graduating into the level of like MSMEs, they should take help of this scheme. This is very interesting scheme. SSIPs, I would like to say SSIP is really a great opportunity for students, especially students who are based in Gujarat. It's a very good initiative by government of Gujarat, and they are definitely taking benefit of this. And in the process, they should also make themselves aware, and they should possibly approach iHub for getting exposure to other schemes of like government, the state government and central government, and take benefit of those schemes. Government is very liberal and very open to providing support to startups and MSMEs. So you can also take help of such type of schemes late in later part of your activities. The scheme worked very well, and we could reach out to more than 500 clusters. We could do a lot of like seminars and workshops and good number of products. I've shown very few products here, but these are other products which we could make in the process. And a lot of products were commercialized during this activity. So this is a very quick story of design, how design can be utilized in your activity. Please don't consider design to be taken in the later part of your venture. Don't say that, okay, I have worked on technology, now convert it into product. Try to incorporate design, try to incorporate, take help of some designer in early stage so that you will not make any mistake in early stage and you will try to rectify it later. Design is not about aesthetics. Design is not about making good looking uh, products. It is about making a robust uh, process of creating value and creating viability. So this is how we are hoping that design will be able to help you also. The major future scenarios, major future challenges, I would like to say, demanding customers. Customers are not going to wait for you to create a product. They will go out there in the market and select something which is best available in the market. So nobody is. So right now we are talking about global, local, and a lot of like WhatsApp messages are coming where we are talking about which are Swadeshi products and which are Videshi products. But definitely Videshi products are challenging us. They are asking us to make our products better. Customers are demanding, they will never wait for you to come up with a product which is where they will give some sort of like consideration for your product. They will always be wanting best, and this is where you have to also create best. Social context, when it comes to let's say Gujarat or Maharashtra or India or European countries, the context is very different. You have to have consideration of that. You cannot say that, okay, I've made a product which works in India will also work in Europe. Technological influence is very much important. Use technology, but don't just run for technology. It's very important to use technology, but technology is not enough. So when you make a technology, make use of technology, try to humanize those technology. That is the biggest challenge right now. So a lot of us are seeing good technologies coming up, but sometimes it is not usable. And we have seen a lot of like failure cases also in such cases. Cultural connect is very much. Try to appreciate your culture, try to appreciate the context of culture in your products, in your services. Economic challenges are like severe in coming scenario, and because of COVID, this slide was made long back, but it is very relevant now. Economic challenges are going to be much severe. but they're also going to provide a lot of opportunities to us. So make use of them. And then finally, I would like to say that environmental concerns are also prime. You must have seen these concerns, and now with increasing environmental concerns, there will be a lot of like pressure on us to consume less, to discard properly, to use materials which are environmentally friendly and all. So that way, design incorporates all these type of concerns, and it helps you to make your product, your services, your processes, your startup better. So my recommendation is to use design early and get yourself exposed to design. Any help in this regard is, if it is required, I'm ready to help you. NID has already been working very closely with SSIP. We have a setup there in NDBI, National Design Business Incubator, where our students are also part of SSIP initiative. So that way we will be really eager to help you if you have any design related requirement. Yeah, thank you so much.
I will take few questions. Professor Praful Bharadia is a faculty of pharmaceutical science. He
Sure.
asks, can design thinking be applied for areas like process sciences like pharma and others?
Yeah, it can be applied, but definitely pharmaceutical process is very specialized process, and a lot of emphasis is on the process of exploration, process of identifying molecules and all, and that way it is more specialized process. But definitely in terms of like bringing creativity, bringing innovation, some sort of help can be taken. I would say a lot of like pharmaceutical design interventions are in terms of like how medicines are designed, how they are getting consumed, how they are basically going to be there in your body, and how it is going to react. So that way, I think a lot of design intervention has already been done in that area, but definitely a lot of possibilities are there.
Wonderful. Professor, one question which has come up from few participants. Ravi Raj Chauhan is asking, in products, it is easy to little bit appreciate the design component. How do you really make it in service sectors? How do you, in a service-based startups, what are the key factors that one need to take care of to ensure that it's more design driven and design things are taken care of?
Yeah. So we have a very dedicated intervention in the service sector from strategic design management. We consider service sector as also as a product. Services are also considered to be a product. You're consuming those products for a limited time. In those cases, the customer's experiences, customer's expectations, requirement getting fulfilled is considered as a design intervention activity. And those areas we try to understand what are the possible opportunity areas, what are the possible sort of like interventions are there. Those things
Wow.
definitely. Service is one of the very major area where design interventions are possible and are being done.
Wonderful. Students are asking if they want to learn more. I mean, they have seen through NPTEL and others. So
Yeah.
they are thinking, is there a design MOOC courses available by NID or something they can go through?
Yeah, NID has a lot of like workshops in place where we conduct workshop for 3 days and 5 days sort of like scenario. In some cases, for early sort of exposure, we create some summer workshops and all, which are provided for general public, like anybody can join. We also create specialized workshop targeting to corporates or government organizations or special groups which want to take up these type of workshops. So that way there are like small short-term workshops are there just to address the requirement of design intervention. If
Wonderful.
any specific requirement is there, definitely we will be able to take it forward.
Certainly, we can co-create. At this outset,
Yeah.
I must say, NID incubator and iHub are working to create a tool on how to run this design innovation boot camps, and we are going to make more systematic interventions because one of the things that we are struggling to improve is how to ensure that the originality of the problems that our youth solves
Yeah.
maintained. How do you see that they do not spend their energy and time in a reinventing wheel? Because many often they are not oriented to know whatever they are doing, whether it is a original thing or is it a utility thing, somebody
Yeah.
can use it. So those
Yeah.
are certain things that we are focusing on. And therein, as Nagarjan sir mentioned, at policy level, we are introducing pedagogy like design-driven systems and all, many often Professor Rajput, when we talk about design thinking, many disciplines who doesn't have a direct correlation with design per se
Yeah.
feels how is it going to helpful to them, but we must say that this is more often behavioral aspects of learning thing rather than
Yes.
only a tool. Many often education is considered as a tool, but actually sometimes it is a way of managing life, way of learning, way of getting things going. That's what we
Yeah.
have been putting through. One question is coming like this MSME scheme came. Was it open only for small and medium enterprises, or even early stage startup also could access to them for benefit?
The scheme is only meant for small and medium enterprise, micro, small and medium enterprise because of the structure of the scheme. But there are a lot of other schemes provided by Ministry of MSME, which support startups at different stages, and those schemes can be accessed through their websites. Uh,
Wonderful.
yeah.
One question is coming that we realize design is very important for innovation and startups. But is it true that all startups are taking care of this, or they are also gambling?
So a lot of startups are now aware of design. Definitely, I'm seeing a lot of new generation is aware of such type of interventions. But sometimes we are not able to use it properly, or sometimes we are not able to to relate it with our initiatives. That is the gap which we have felt in a lot of cases. I think the basic design awareness is very much, I think, for all the startups.
Wonderful.
I would not say that everybody will act like a designer. Definitely, it is not possible. But we can hire those experts whenever required. But I think if you see the majority of successful ventures from West, they will always have one partner as designer.
May it be Maple.
Yeah. So
But this is very, very important that even in one part is designer, one is a liberal arts guy or a liberal science fellow who brings in
yes,
humanity aspects
humanity
into
is
your product component of an enterprise. In India, we believe it is all the people who design mobile apps and websites are the people who are innovating. But I think that's the psychology that we need to play around. That
yeah,
it has to be very heterogeneous, it has to be very user centric and multidisciplinary kind of thing.
yeah,
So one thing, last question on behalf of us, sir, is we have been supporting more than 1,000 innovators every year to develop proof of concepts. And then the next stage comes is how do they convert their functional proof of concept into a product-oriented minimum viable product which they can go and test in the field. That's the value chain where actually the value chain seems to be little broken in the ecosystem here. What are your advices? How do we really take care of that so that more and more conversion from proof of concept. So we have taken care of idea to proof of concept. Now, how do we take care that proof of concepts converts into MVPs and products? Because that's the area that we're looking for now.
yeah. As per my understanding, I think we need to bring in other functions who are able to bridge this gap. So there are designers possibly who will be able to generate some sort of like realistic products out of those proof of concepts. There are also possibility of bringing in engineers or bringing in some prototype manufacturers. I think those areas are like required to be bridged. So that
Wonderful.
yeah, so that
So
is
it's more
I
about
think
creating, mapping the missing gap, figuring out who are stakeholders who can chip into it, and create a systemic interface so that the process goes on.
yes.